What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of You Guessed It. Let's take a walk. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. I definitely am. A little under the weather, man, but listen, I'm pressing through because I had to get to you guys. Today, we have an entrepreneur, a real estate aficionado, if you will. He's a boss in his own right. We're going to talk to him about finance, about real estate, owning a piece of the earth, literally, and why it's important. But I don't want to steal his thunder. It's Mr. Thurston Howard. For those of you who may not be familiar with this young man, I'm going to give him a moment to kind of reintroduce himself and just give a little background on who he is and some of the things that he has going on. So with that being said, man, you got the floor.
What's going on, people? It's your boy Thirst, real estate investor, serial entrepreneur, husband, father, all the above. Here, checking in with my main man Mike, giving some insight, a little bit of game, and yeah, man, I'm here. Blessed. Thank you for giving me the platform to be able to speak about this stuff. But appreciate you, dog.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning, man. Like, where did the thirst, no pun intended, to work in real estate? When did that start? Like, how did you begin?
So it started really in 2017. Like anybody else, y'all, I was working at the shipyard, hustling, bustling, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to get a parking spot. And actually, I was introduced to real estate by like my cousin slash brother. And I say that because everybody say, "Oh, that's my cousin." My cousin,
Mm-hmm.
our moms are sisters, and our dads are brothers. That sounds crazy, but
Wow.
he was a magistrate judge in Northern Virginia, and my family knows we're really close. And he quit his job. So he was one of the youngest magistrate judge in like that Prince George County's history. So everybody was like, "Yo, what is going on with him? Why did he quit his job?" So I know my cousin is really intelligent. And so when I spoke to him, he said, "Hey, look, I'm doing real estate stuff, man. I'm doing something called wholesaling." That's when it was first introduced to me. So I said, "Yo, I'm intrigued. Like, tell me more about it." He said, "Nah, man, I'm gonna wait. Like after you get married," which I got married in 2018. He said, "After you get married, bro, we gonna sit down and I'm gonna really talk about it with you." And I think that was more so him just kind of testing my interest. So I started doing some research on it myself just to kind of get a general
Mm-hmm.
idea of what it was. And
Right.
it seemed like something very, very lucrative. So I said, okay. So I just started doing some research, but going to him in 2018, we dove in it. And yeah, man, it wasn't a good start for me. I was still working a job. I'm a husband, I'm a father of three kids, so the time just wasn't there for me to do it. And I
Right.
think I'll say fast track, fast forward. Let's go to 2020, right before the pandemic started. So the beginning of that year, I basically applied for a higher tier job in the shipyard. So I actually got the job. But the amount of disrespect, those who don't know, I have 3 degrees. I got one in forensic science, I got a forensic anthropology degree, and then I have a master's degree in science, engineering, and technology. So I was shooting for the moon as far as pay, right? I got a family of five to take care of. I'm looking to provide financially for my family. And
Right.
so when I got the offer for the higher tier job, it was like a slap in the face, man. And it really didn't sit well with me at all. It didn't sit well with me. So for me, I just like I gotta figure something out. So I was already like learning and figuring out the real estate scene. So the second I put my mind to, I turned the job down. I said, "Look, I'm gonna work my 8 hours and I'm gonna focus on real estate." Just that quick of a switch with my mindset, it all changed for me. So from 2020, I got my first deal, and just a brief overview, I got it from a church.
Okay.
Got the deal from a church, and I ended up wholesaling that deal and making like $17,000. And
Wow.
so,
Okay.
yep. And so literally the day I picked that check up, it's kind of like when all the pandemic stuff and coronavirus stuff just really kind of peaked. And so the shipyard was just like, hey, we're gonna give you some time off, like everybody. Hey, you take liberal leave and figure that out. So
Excuse me.
no, you're okay. And so it took off from there for me, man. It just my mindset's changed and I had time off to really give myself time to do it. So that's just what it was. I just dove in head first and I really took my time and just stayed persistent. And here we are today. So in the last, I'll say 5 years, all in all, I've done over 200 real estate transactions between wholesaling and flipping, and now I'm like getting into new construction. But I've done probably a little bit more than that. I'm being modest with 200, but yeah, it's been a lot of deals that I've done. So I'm here to spread the word and give everybody the knowledge and key to it. I know you probably got some questions, so let me not get ahead of myself.
What I mean at this, I mean, in the beginning, I'm sure your sensibilities for doing what you were doing or making the decision to do, to get into real estate are probably different than they are, probably now.
Right.
So, with that being said, what does it mean to you, right, in this season to be able to do what you're doing, especially as a man, like you said, with a large family, um, and responsibilities, and being a man of color? You know what I mean?
Right.
What does that? What does it mean to you now to be able to create this life for yourself?
So at first it was more of a, well, let me not say money. I don't want to throw money into it, but money was a part of it just to be able to financially do some things. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the first aspect of this was me learning, right? I wanted to be knowledgeable and turn that knowledge into making money. And so once I hit that plateau, each stage, I think I had goals set. So it was like, hey, the first goal was, can I make money to be able to take care of my family doing this alone? And okay, that was checked off. Boom. Now the next step was, okay, now I want to scale my business to be able to own some real estate, maybe do some rentals, maybe do some Airbnbs. And the market took a shift. And I had a few properties. But in the sense of that phase, I conquered it. And then I moved on to the next phase. So the next phase for me is really sustainability, growing my business, being able to expand to different states. I've done different real estate transactions in other states, but also teaching, man. I think the aspect of teaching is more of wanting to just put people on to understand what they can and can't do, how to get
Right.
to it, and how to be and what to look for, the knowledge of it. But yeah, I think in this season for me is just I'm just trying to grow. I want to pass down some things to my children. I do have a 13-year-old just like you, bro. So
Yes.
that time is just
Right.
coming rapidly,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
She's going
Absolutely.
to high school next year. So now I'm getting her in a phase of and it's a beautiful thing, bro, because she's actually for those who don't know, we live in the Hampton Roads area. So the high schools in Hampton have programs, they have academies. So I think Brianna's going
Hmm.
to Phoebus Academy, which is my alma mater.
Right.
But Jalen is going to Kickintan, and
Okay.
she's doing the Marketing Entrepreneurship Academy. So that's kind of
Um,
right in line with some of the things that I'm already doing and what I'm into, so I can give her a firsthand look at some of these things. But
right.
yeah, man, just I'm trying to leave something for them. I'm trying to build something for them to just say, hey, come on, you turn 18. I want you to go to college, but if you make the choice not to, something's got to give. So you either running the business,
Hmm.
doing the business, something. So yeah, it's more so in this season of legacy for me. I want to leave something and be able to have my kids, pick up a skill.
Nowadays, it seems like it's more advantageous for people to have quote unquote side hustles, or you
Hmm.
know starting their own businesses or whatever, because it's like even the situations that we thought were secure, like even these federal jobs now, they're requesting us to um put in 5 bullets of what we did last week, and it's supposed
Wow.
I guess depending on that, it determines if we're going to be able to keep our jobs and stuff like that. There was never before in history has that ever happened, you know what I mean? So
Right.
now more than ever, um you need to have more than one iron in the fire. um so you're who was your first who was your first influence? I mean, I know your cousin was the one that kind of introduced you, but as you grow, I'm sure you developed your own process of
Hmm.
vetting houses and vetting properties and different stuff like that. Who was your biggest influence as far as that was concerned?
That's a great question, bro. Um, I would say, and it's like I'm a different type of person, right? I look. Well, I try to have people around that gives me certain motivation, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really look to nobody like, hey, oh, they're doing that. Let me. I think for me, the biggest motivating factor was I have a family to take care of, so this has to work, right?
Right,
and
right.
I've gotten so used to, and I don't want to say just not going to a job, but having my time, bro. Having your time is the most important thing to me in doing all of
Facts,
this, right? I
facts.
got all of my kids are in activities. My son plays basketball, now he's starting soccer. I got one my youngest daughter, she's a dance like fanatic. And so she's on a competition team and she's doing all these amazing things. And my oldest daughter plays the piano and she's into certain things. So I want to be able to have my time to do things with them, to be there for them.
Right,
Show
right.
up to school and eat lunch, or they have an award ceremony at 8 o'clock, and right. And me and my schedule to what I had working at the shipyard, that wasn't possible for me to go to something like that. So now
Right.
is I think that was the most motivating factor to me. I really didn't look to people there. Of course, there's a lot of, and let me say this: there's a lot of great entrepreneurs in the 757. There are a lot of people doing what I'm doing. I've built some very, very close bonds and relationships with some amazing guys and women in this business, right? And I think we
Mm-hmm.
all kind of feed off each other when it comes to the motivating factor in a way, but it's not like one person that I look to for that kind of motivation. I think the
Mm-hmm.
motivation was just there for me. Like, I gotta make this work. Like, I
Right.
want to grow, I want to do these things, I want to travel. And I would say, man, I'm being completely honest. Before I started doing this, I couldn't think past how I was gonna pay my bills because that was my
Mm-hmm.
main focus, right? Going to work
Right.
every day, working overtime. I wasn't thinking about a vacation or giving my kids experiences. I was just focused on how can I pay the bills without struggling. And
Right.
so this has given me such an outlet and such a like a gratification for having my time. And it's just super motivating for me to keep having my time for one. But also,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm not super tired every day. Like, and no knock to anybody having 9 to 5. Listen, I was there for years, so
Right.
I completely understand. But being an entrepreneur just opened my mind to a plethora of other avenues to life, and one of those is happiness, man. You gotta have your happiness.
That's a
So
fact.
I put a like a post up on Instagram and Facebook, and it's pretty long, but I just always reflect on where I was. Right, I was in the parking lot of the shipyard at 5 a.m. talking to my best friend because he was a professional basketball player. And I'm talking to him on the phone, like, man, something gotta give, bro. This is not it. Right. I'm getting up 4:30 in the morning, working all day, which is fine. Not a lazy person, but it's just the repetitive. It didn't give me enough. It didn't give me what I needed
The
out of
hamster
life.
wheel. Mm-hmm.
Right. The hamster wheel, man, it just didn't give me enough. So, I talking to my best friend and my wife, man. I thank God for my wife every single day because she had a very hard conversation with me, some years before I got into real estate about me just kind of doing the bare minimum. Like, I'm going to work. Okay, I'm working some overtime, but like, what do you want out of life? Like, You're not
Right.
doing enough to provide for us, is the conversation that me and her had. And of course, like most
Wow.
men, we'll get, I got defensive and
Hmm.
didn't really want to hear what she had to say, but I sat back and I had to think about it. I'm like, damn, is this true? So yeah, it was just like she put a battery in my back, bro. And
Yeah.
the battery was
Yeah.
to, hey, let's go. Like, you the man in the house. We trust in you, we believe in you. Let's go. You gotta figure something out. And so, it gave me all the motivation that I needed right there. So, that answered your question.
Yeah. Absolutely. That last point that you made was super powerful. And what we realize is that, especially being a husband as well, um, your family. You know what I'm saying? When those kids look at you, like with my son in particular, you know, when they look at you, when they see in your mind, you're just you.
Hmm.
But to them, it's just so much more. And you just really want to live up to the standard that your family has for you, even your children. Even
Right.
your children have a standard for you. You know what I
Right.
mean? They see you as something, and you want to live. You want to live up to that standard. Um, to be able to not only take care of them presently, but to give them the tools that they need to go forth, in the future. Because in essence, as one of my friends would say, we're training our replacement. You know what I mean? So it's that's very important. When you
Right.
look at some of the properties that, and this is probably might sound like an unusual question, but when you look at some of the properties and stuff that you've acquired, over the years, and some of the stuff that has been on the market, um, does it disappoint you? And what I mean by that is, as particularly the properties that might be a bit dilapidated, you know what I'm saying, or they might be in a nice area, but for whatever reason, people just didn't take care of them, and now they're in these states. Like, in your experience doing the real estate, and you seeing all these different properties and varying levels of health, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Are you ever disappointed by what you're seeing in the community?
Yes,
How about
especially the black community.
how poorly it's some of these places are being upkept?
Yeah, man. Especially in the black community.
Mm,
I have come across so many families that look like us that just don't have the information or knowledge to know what to do. So they just let it go. And rest in peace to my grandmother. My grandmother passed away in 2023. Her and my grandfather owned a home for over 30 years and they lost it to a delinquent taxes, right?
mm,
Had I had this information and knowledge, oh, we would have easily saved the house, but they didn't have a clue what to do, so they let it go. It just was taken from them. So I look at, when I'm analyzing these deals or people call me or, I make a phone call and I see stuff like the house is going up for auction. And some people are just so prideful and it's like leave me alone. I don't want to deal with that. And it's like, no, like I'm trying to, it's not even about money. It's about me helping you to not damage yourself for a long period of time when it comes to your credit or whatever, right?
mhm,
People file in bankruptcy because they don't know what to do with a property. And so I want to save people. I want to help them
mhm.
understand this process and what you can do. Because owning real estate, you can do so much. You can do so much, right? It's not just a traditional buy or sell, right? There's a plethora of what we call exit strategies in this, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's we can do our own financing. I can finance your house. I can buy your mortgage, right?
Mhm.
I can take over your mortgage. There's a multitude of things that I can do to make sure that you're not in a position where you're losing.
Right.
So I think that's the most like disappointing factor to me is when I see our people who don't have enough information or knowledge about the real estate itself. And so you did the first major step, which is owning, right? I
Mhm.
think they say the average Black American, African American owns doesn't own a home until 39 or 38 or 40 or something like that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And which is understandable, to each his own. It's no time limit or no set time to when you can own. But I look at our counterparts, they're buying homes at 20, 21 years old. They live with their
Right.
mom and dad. They come right out of college, 22, 21, 20, and then they're buying a house because they were giving the knowledge and information to do that. So I think that's just the most disappointing thing that I do see. And it can be changed. Like, you know, it can be changed. It definitely can be changed. So reach out. People who watch and listen, reach out. I don't care if it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. If you have a question, reach out, because there's no dumb question when it comes to real estate.
Right.
You
Right.
may think it may be stupid, but it's not. So reach out.
So with that being said, have you ever, from a moral standpoint, have you ever found yourself feeling a level of guilt, in the sense that maybe you feel like you're capitalizing off of, what I'm saying, the misfortune of, of others? Is that something that you've ever had to contend with within yourself?
Yes and no. So the first part of that, right? I don't feel guilty because you're in the situation. I'm still helping you get
Mhm.
out, but monetizing the helping part of it, that's just a part of life, right? If you look at anything, and I tell people this all the time, okay, you maybe want to do this, but do you, every time your car gets dirty, do you wash it in your driveway?
Mm.
There you go. So your car needs to be clean. So what you do? You drive it
Right.
right through Auto Bell. You're
Right.
paying an extra fee to get it done, but it's getting done. So I
Right.
look at it all in the same. And now that I'm so busy, I don't do a lot of manual work. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Everything is getting
Right.
paid, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I look at it like that. But also in a sense, I've had moments where my moral compass does kick in. And I'll give you just a quick example. So for me, sometimes, okay, when it comes to wholesaling, right? If I make an offer to a seller and I completely lowball them, right? I had this happen to me where I completely lowball them and I make more money than them wholesaling the house than they're making or actually owning the house. That just doesn't that just doesn't sit so well with me.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're here to help. We're not here to take advantage of people.
Right.
Now, Now, if somebody says, "Hey, Mr. Howard, man, look, I only need, $20,000. That's all I want, and I know I can sell that property for $80,000." That's not my issue. But when
Right.
I'm lowballing you from what you actually want, now I can make some money from it. But if I'm lowballing you and then I'm making more money, that just doesn't sit well with me. And I've had that happen more than a few times with dealing with other people in the business.
Hmm.
Where the seller might make $40,000 and then you're making 55,000 from selling their property. That just doesn't sit well. So, yeah, I would say that for the most part.
Okay. Two things that and I tell people this all the time. Two things that I deal with in my life now. Two words: purpose and perspective. Right.
Hmm.
I think that when you get to a certain point in your life, like today is actually my birthday,
Happy birthday,
and
brother. I forgot. Happy birthday.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. When you get to a certain point in your life, um, you become introspective, and you ask yourself, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I going in the direction, or if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, am I at least on the right track? Um, and as far as perspective, is my perspective causing me to delay my purpose, or maybe it's taking me off the way I see things, or whatever? Um, is that causing me not to be able to locate my purpose or be on the right path of my purpose? Do you feel like through, do you feel like you found your purpose?
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely, 1000%. And the way it came about too. I've seen people. I've actually worked with quite a few people who come in this business and don't last long,
Hmm.
right? And I don't think it's just from a purpose standpoint. I think, and just for everybody, I'm going to be giving a speech this Saturday at the Hampton Convention Center. Um, Check in, tap in with me, tickets, all that good stuff. But I'm going to talk about this. But mindset and discipline are two things besides purpose and perspective that I also hang my hat on. The mindset to be able to do something and the discipline to be able to keep doing it, right? Those are things that I think a lot of people don't understand. But I found my purpose because of how it came about, and my perspective keeps me in line with my purpose because I could have been doing something else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It
Hmm.
could have taken me in a different direction. And God has led me here to this purpose. And and the first 2 years of me doing this, I didn't make a dime. Let me just throw that out there because I was so focused on monetizing that I wasn't focused on the learning aspect of it. So once I
Hmm.
got the learning aspect down of just falling in love with the process of learning what I'm doing to be able to do
Right.
it, that's when it all kind of fell in line. And the way it fell in line with the pandemic, a lot of people crumbled, man, during that pandemic. A lot of people were hurt. A lot of people
Hmm.
were in some very bad situations. That was one of the best years of my life. So if
Wow.
that ain't a sign that this is your purpose, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, so
That's
yeah, man.
amazing. Um, so over the years, I'm sure you have, like we were talking about earlier, you have kind of gained your own personal system, and
Hmm.
exactly what you're looking for, um, in terms of the type of deal you want to do, the type of properties that you that you want to indulge in. Is there a such thing as in your experience, is there a such thing as a property that is poison that you just would not do a deal with? Like, is there such thing as a property that has no potential, or that you would stay away from?
Yes and no. I would
Okay.
say I'm gonna start with the no part. Um, because everything has potential, right? It's real estate. The
Right.
only thing that we're guaranteed in life is change. So areas, neighborhoods are constantly changing, right? Let's take an example for downtown Newport News. You got new construction houses selling for $500,000. That shit would have never happened before. Excuse my
Right.
language. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Ever,
You're fine.
right? So the dynamics of an area, all it can change. It definitely can change. So I wouldn't say no. I would say no, but the yes part is it's more so for the people. Um, there are people that I just will not do business with,
Mm,
and which is tied to properties, whatever, commercial deals, land, whatever. There are people that I won't do business with. So I ain't gonna speak on it too much just because I want to keep this positive, but um yeah, it's people that I won't do business with. So and until me not doing business with them trickles down to whatever the property or parcel is, I won't do it.
okay. Okay. So, what would you say if it was one thing? If you could name one thing, what would you say is the most profound thing that you've learned about yourself in this whole process that maybe you didn't know about yourself prior to?
Probably my resilience. Um I've always been a confident person, bro. Like I said, I was an athlete back in my time, and I did when I was an athlete, I struggled with confidence. That's why I did not go far with playing basketball. My
Hmm.
confidence, it was always a mental thing for me. I think I was talented, but it just was a mental aspect for me. So fast forward to having my first kid, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't have a clue of how to be a great father because I grew up without a father. My mom
Right.
raised me.
Right.
So the perspective about it would have had to come from maybe seeing other people, but I didn't have a firsthand look at some things. So throughout my life, I think confidence has always played a part. And doing this business, when I first got started, that's how I knew it was my purpose because I was extremely confident. Once I started getting to it, man, it turned me to a different person. So I think through that I kind of learned to be really, really confident in myself. And here we are, and not to brag or boast, but doing over 200 deals. I'm speaking at events. I'm literally teaching people life skills.
Hmm.
And I got other stuff going on. Like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur, but just other people having the confidence in me. And every single time you do a deal, somebody's having confidence in you to get this done or to do
Right.
this.
Right.
If I come
Right.
to you and I say, hey, Mike, I want to buy your property because you're in a situation, you could be losing your house in 3 weeks. You're
Hmm.
trusting me to get this done. Whether it's monetary or not, you're still trusting me to get this done. So I think the confidence aspect is the biggest piece to all this. I think I've learned that about myself and have thrived off of, the confidence in me doing this. So yeah, I would say that.
Awesome. Awesome. What would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you at this point?
That I'm rich. And I and hold on, I'm gonna put some context to it. And which I understand, right? We've all been in situations where we're not in the best situation.
Hmm.
We have seasons of our lives where we struggle. I think God puts those seasons in our lives for us to learn, for us to
Hmm.
tap into a potential that we may not have, but for us to figure it out. And so I think the biggest misconception is people just think I can help everybody with their issues. And I'm not naming no names, but I had friends, past friends, even some family come to me for help. Now, I believe God put me in a position to help for sure. I share my blessings. I am not a stingy person. I try to do what I can for people, but there's a limit to everything.
Right.
But I also have random people that reach out to me, a lot of random people that ask me for help, favors, money, opportunity. And nothing's wrong with it, but I'm one person and I always revert back to, bro, I got a family of five that I take care of daily that need me, look up to me, rely on me. So it's hard for me to stretch myself out so far that I can't be there for my family. And I don't. That's one thing I do not cross. If I can do it, I'll do it 1000%.
Hmm.
But I just think the biggest misconception, I know it was funny, but yeah, people just think I'm rich and I can just give. I can just give and
Yeah.
give and give. And that's not the reality at all.
Wow. So let's talk. Let's just talk general entrepreneurship. What are
Okay.
your feelings on general entrepreneurship, especially in our community? Um, the other day, they had days marked off where they didn't want us to shop. They didn't want us to buy things and spend no money on these certain days and these certain times. And if you must buy something, buy black. You know what I mean? That whole thing. What are your feelings on entrepreneurship at, in this era of time when you know nothing seems nothing seems certain? Like what are your viewpoints on entrepreneurship?
So I'm gonna give you my honest viewpoints, and I'm sorry, people. I'm just a downright honest person.
Hmm.
For starters, entrepreneurship is so portrayed like it's so easy, and it's not at all whatsoever.
Right.
I think
Right.
social media gives everybody a false reality to what it really is. Everybody that's on social media that are entrepreneurships, most of them are only posting their highlights. We're not posting our failures, right?
Right.
because
Right.
that's just not how life goes, right? We're posting literally our highlights. So it gives the perception that it's easy. For two, and I'm gonna speak to the black entrepreneurs, get y'all ish together. And when I say get it together, when it comes to running business, handle business in a business aspect, not the
Mm,
idea, not of what it
mm,
can look like on social media, not
mm.
of what it portrays, but the actual downright business of it. And I'm not speaking for all black entrepreneurs. I have some great friends and relationships that I built with people who are entrepreneurs, but I run across a whole lot of them that aren't so great because you're trying to look a certain way about business instead of just doing the business, right? Run the business accordingly. So I'm saying it in the sense of it's a wake up call, right? You got a bad review, take that in consideration. Just because you got 10,000 followers don't mean that two bad reviews can't mess your business up. It can.
That's a fact.
It can deter people from actually doing business with you. So take
Mhm.
the pride in understanding what the issue is and understanding how to fix the issue instead of, having this cocky mindset that, oh, you're just one person or you're just two people, right? Every customer matters. And so that's how I take in a course of real estate, right? I try to treat everybody with respect, especially even sometimes, bro, I'll call and I can be talking to somebody who is literally about to lose their property and they'll curse me out. And my response is, hey, look, I understand you're going through a tough situation. Hey, look, here's my number. Give me a call, right? I'm not going to fight fire with fire and talk smack to them,
Right.
right? To each his own, everybody's perspective is their perspective. Everybody's situation is their situation.
Right.
But you got to treat everybody with respect because that's why they come back. And I've had
Mhm.
people cuss me out on the phone and call me back 30 minutes later, crying like, yo, I'm going through a lot, but I really need to get this done. So when you treat everybody with respect and treat every individual with the same respect as you would treat somebody who's tipping well or somebody who's putting money in your pocket, that's how a business is ran. That's how it becomes better. That's how it grows. This is how it really your monetizing goes way up with customer service. And so I just been seeing a lot of negativity from business owners about people having complaints about certain stuff. Now, obviously, to each his own. Every customer's not going to be happy. Some people
Right.
are going to want to get over. But for the ones who actually want to spend money and do good business, you got to treat every customer the same and treat them with respect. So, yeah, I think that's something that could be really, really, really worked on. And I'm not saying other businesses from other races aren't that way, but I'm just speaking to my people because I think we're such a small percentage. For one, we're a small percentage of the United States in general, right? We're talking 13, 14% African Americans. Another 1%, I don't think it's 1% of us are entrepreneurs.
Right.
Most of, us have, career jobs, occupations that we're doing to, feed our families and feed ourselves. But the percentage is even smaller for us. So we have to go above and beyond when it comes to business. So yeah, that's what I would say, man. Just wanted to speak on some things that I've been seeing about it. So
Is there enough information? Excuse me. Is there enough information available to aspiring entrepreneurs in whatever facet of business, whether it be real estate, whether it be clothing, whether it be whatever? Do you think that there's enough information readily available, or do you feel like there's more apathy that prevents people from knowing what they could know? Does that make sense?
it
Is it
does. It does.
is it would you say that it's a level of more so apathy or a lack of information, particularly in our communities?
It's definitely not a lack of information because all of us are on social media, and
Mm-hmm.
there's what more than and free information at that, right? There's enough free information for people to really get a strong perspective about whatever industry they want to be in, right? And just to speak on Tik, now you got TikTok, right? You have literally videos. being posted every day about whatever it is you want to do, learn, understand, whatever. Right. So there's a level of information that is kind of unmatched from any other era. Right. I think,
Mhm.
let's just speak in the early 2000s. Well, I say late 2000s, where for one, entrepreneurship wasn't even talked about,
Right.
but you had to pay for a lot of information. Just like college, you go to college, you paying to go to college. It's not free.
Right.
So when you come out of college, it ain't guaranteed that you'll get a job. It ain't guaranteed that you'll be successful. It's another level of information that you got to get to where you need to get to. But there's enough free information for people to start something, learn it, understand, build off of it, and continue going. So I don't think there's lack of information about anything, to be real, in my own opinion. It's just what we choose to put our time into. And I think that's a big thing for us. A lot of people are wasting time looking at stuff they probably shouldn't be looking at, or just being sucked into information they shouldn't be sucked into.
You're right.
And essentially, like, look at the bigger picture, everybody, right? The information is still there.
Right.
They will put, and I'm just using that as an example. I don't know if it's still popular, but love and hip hop and all these reality shows right in your face to distract you and talk about everything else.
Right.
But the information was sitting right there all along for you to, oh snap, he do study. Most of them are entrepreneurs on the show, right? If I'm not
Right.
mistaken,
Right.
right? They're giving
Right.
information on the show for businesses, for entrepreneurship, for whatever. But we're so blinded by the drama behind stuff, and that's just kind of how we're wired. But it's information out there, bro. I think more than enough for people to be, successful at whatever they want to do.
Awesome. So if you could have it your way, right, tomorrow,
Mhm.
what would your business be at its peak?
Tuh. Um, I would say from a monetizing standpoint, me making six figures a month, which I'm almost there. I'm kind of almost there, but making six figures a month, me changing the neighborhoods. I would love for homes to be affordable for more people to buy. Um,
Hmm.
that's just not the nature of it, but I would love for everybody to, because guess what? Going back to one question that you had about, us black folks earning and being in certain situations where to own real estate, right? The neighborhoods we're subjected to, I mean, they're run down, a lot of them, to be able to afford something,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
so if we can go in certain neighborhoods, and which a lot of us are doing though, I don't want to throw no shade, but a lot of us are doing that. We're going into bad neighborhoods and we're changing and we're changing the housing aspect. My business partner and close best friend, his name is Travis. I mean, literally, we're buying homes in the hood
Hmm.
and we're changing that narrative. My guy Antonio Royal, I mean, he's building homes in different neighborhoods. We're not just looking for the best neighborhoods to put these houses. They're not in
Hmm.
the greatest neighborhoods.
Right.
And so you have to change the narrative somehow. And they're becoming affordable, right? I'll say the growing new construction now is about 375, 380,000. Houses are getting built in neighborhoods that are going for 300,000, right? I mean, brand new construction,
Hmm.
modern style homes, they're being built in rundown neighborhoods. So I just I think that it's uh it's kind of one of those things that it's like going to be a work in progress for that narrative to really get changed. But yeah,
Hmm. Okay. In your experience, um, what is the most common mistake people make when they first enter into the whole real estate, situation? What are whether it be mindset, whether it be what they actually the deals that they're actually doing, like what have you found to be the most common mistake that people make?
it's two of them. One, not going hard enough, and two, being too trustworthy of people because they've been in the business. And I tell people all the time, even people who take my class, don't ever just take my word for it, because your perspective or your way of doing something may be right for you, right? My path and how I did this works for me, but you may take another path that may work for you in that regard, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
So, like I said, not going hard enough is a big one. I think people just think that, okay, boom, I'm not licensed. I'm a real estate investor. I'm not licensed. Let me just throw that out there. But real estate agents, I got a bunch of friends. I got people who are just getting into the business and the aspect of it. But I think one misconception about it and the mistake that they make is thinking that deals just fall from the sky, and that is not true. And I
Right.
don't think people talk about that enough. They just, oh, become a real estate agent. Like, no, people are not just going to say, hey, Mike, I seen you're a real estate agent. Can you list my house? No, it don't work like that. You got to go out and create business. Just because you're licensed, that's only step one. Even for what I do, right? Me doing the wholesale aspect or flipping a house, I got to go out and find these deals. They don't just fall in my lap. So I think a lot of people get out of the business and fail because they just don't want to do the necessary work because they just think it's easy. And I'm gonna say it because I'm just me. I think a lot of women get into it because they may be beautiful and they think people are just gonna give them deals.
Right. Right.
I see that a whole lot.
And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because I was interviewing a few months back. I was interviewing couple of real estate agent, a young lady or whatever, and that was one of the questions that I asked her. I was like, you know, do people have a certain viewpoint of you because you're very striking and very attractive, and is that something that, especially when you're dealing with people of the opposite sex, do they feel like, okay, they see this beautiful woman selling property, well, okay, I can finesse, I might be able to finesse this chick right here because she, whatever. So
Mhm.
it's funny that you say that, because it's, I always wondered, is that a thing?
Oh, it's a thing for sure. I mean, just look at the overall synopsis of it, right? I think what were women doing before? A lot of just the cliche. I know people say, like, I want no stripper. Most of the beautiful women were being strippers because they were going to make the most money, right?
Right.
In the earlier times, 90s and 2000s and whatnot. And then women started getting into the corporate function of things, right? Because of equal opportunity and non-discrimination. I think a lot of women started getting more opportunity. Now there are a lot of smart women. I've come across some very, like, I mean, bro, I'm saying some very ambitious, some very smart women in this industry. And but I've come across some ones who don't know a whole lot, and they're literally getting business because they're beautiful.
Wow.
And guys are gonna and even it's the aesthetics of how things look, right? And
Hmm.
so a lot of them get deals because of it. But I've also met some who are beautiful who don't get deals. But
Hmm.
it's like you gotta learn the game, you gotta learn the business, you gotta learn this. And it all goes hand in hand because the power of social media, right? Okay, if you're a beautiful woman and you're a real estate agent, all you post some pictures, and all of them ain't even professional pictures, right? You
Right.
grab the attention of some people. That's all you need
Right.
to start a conversation. Oh, you're a real estate agent. Hey, come list my house or whatever the case may be. Boom, right then and there. It ain't because of your
Mhm.
knowledge or you being good at what you do. It's because of how you look.
Right. Right.
And I'm not knocking it. I look, to each his own. Get your money, right? I'm not knocking it at all whatsoever. But I've just seen so many women in this industry get into it and they get out of it because it's not as easy. And men too. It's not
Mhm.
easy as you think it's going to be. So there's
Right.
still work to be done. Like I said, just like college. You go to college, you pay them for a degree. They are not guaranteeing you a job when you get out of college.
Right.
That's just not the nature of it. That's all self. So now you just completed phase one. Now you move on to phase two. And phase two is
Right.
finding a job. Phase two in real estate is you doing the work to get deals.
Awesome. So you mentioned real estate agents.
Mhm.
How closely do you work with some of the real estate houses in the community, or is that even an advantage to have, to be able to have that type of networking, or is it better to just be a, a loner, or how important is it to have that connection with realty houses?
I mean, it's a huge, huge, huge discernment if you don't work with real estate agents or people, and not even just real estate agents, anybody else in this industry, right? I can do
Mhm.
what I do alone by myself, but I have a plethora of partnerships with people because that's how you grow. The growing aspect of whatever you're doing. Some people do it by themselves, some last, some don't, right?
Mhm.
But it's a huge, you're doing yourself a disadvantage if you're not tapping into those networks or tapping into with those realtors or real estate agents because they provide deals as well, right?
Mhm.
I'll say one in particular. I'm not gonna mention her name, but she's literally come straight to me. Hey, I had a seller call me and they want to sell this house. You the first person I thought about because I know this is what you do. Boom,
Right.
right? That
Mhm.
right there alone is a beautiful thing because if you're not
Right.
networking and getting to know certain people, and I'm a personable person, like I have a big personality, if y'all can't tell. So I talk to people. I socialize. I talk to them. Hell, we may go to breakfast. We may go to lunch. We may do dinner. And that's how I built this friendship and brotherhood with a lot of real estate investors, guys out here in the 757. Like a lot of people know me. A lot of people mess with me. A lot of people like, yo, Thirst, cool. And it's because I just conduct myself a certain way. I carry myself a certain way. We doing business, but we can also have personal conversation, right?
Right.
I'm not just
Right.
here to do business. I want to build lifelong relationships. I want to have these relationships until we go on, right? I got kids, you got kids. Now our kids are friends. Now they're doing business together. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's kind of where
Right.
my mind goes when it comes to doing all of this. It's just building that community, building that up so it can go on because we're not going to be here for forever. So having
Right.
relationships is super important. You got to utilize them. You have to.
Awesome. 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 Um, this is probably the final question that I have,
Okay.
for you. And it's a question that I ask all my guests. And and for you in particular, I think it's a very important question. And this is the question right here. It says, what would have to happen in your life if it hasn't happened already for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
Mm, that's a good one. So success for me, and I've spoke about this before too. Success for me is being able to wake up when I want to wake up and me be able to spend my time doing what I love to do. So
Mm,
whether it's going to the gym, whether it's spending time with my family, whether it's showing up for my kids, success to me and just to me is having my time to do what I love to do. I'm a very, very, very loving husband and father. I love my family to death. I will do anything. And you've gotten to know me. Like, I'm a
absolutely.
very hands on type of dude, type of
Right.
father. I don't miss much at all. I don't want to
Right.
miss nothing. Right.
Right.
Growing up without a father, it's changed my perspective about life, right? And the things that my real father, and God rest his soul, he passed away last year, but him missing out on like me growing into this person, it's a huge loss for him, right? And I can only not imagine, I can only sit here and like fathom what would that look like for my family, for my kids to not see me, right? Show up for them. So success to me is my time, man. Having my time. It's not money. Money comes and goes, man. I can't get buried with my money. Yeah, it'll be
Right.
for my family, but my success while I'm here on earth serving my purpose is my time. Having my time to be there for my family and to be able to show up and give them my presence, my all, my smile, my gift for life. That's what success is to me.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. I want to thank you for coming on to the platform and sharing. I know we just scratched the surface, and you know we definitely gonna do this again.
Absolutely.
If somebody excuse me, like I said, I'm trying to get over
Yeah.
this. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, um, for whatever reason, maybe they heard something that resonated with them, or maybe they have some real estate that they want to unload or whatever, talk to you about whatever, how can they get in touch with you?
So Instagram underscore thirst underscore. My business Instagram is Howard Property Development. Um, I mean, I'm on TikTok, thirst underscore on TikTok. Um, I mean, my website, www.howardpd.com. You can get in contact with me through there as well. I'm everywhere. I mean, just go on your local Instagram and you'll see me somewhere. So yeah,
Okay.
contact me. Hit me up today. Let's have a
Speak,
conversation.
Speaking of seeing you somewhere, uh, you spoke about it, that said that you were going to be speaking at an event here in a few days.
Yes,
Can you give a brief
a brief overview. So
yeah,
I am speaking. Hold on, let me give y'all the real. Um Let me give y'all. So I will be speaking this Saturday, March 8th, at the Hampton Convention Center, at the Financially Motivated Unstoppable Forum, um, with special guest Earn Your Leisure, the number one business podcast I think it is in the United States, from what I heard. But
hmm
I'm speaking real estate, the key to long term wealth. So myself and a few other, my brother Tone and somebody else believe is speaking there. So Saturday, March 8th, it's from 12 to 4 o'clock. I mean, they got vendors, they have special guests, special speakers. Like I said, Earn Your Leisure, the podcast is going to be there. And there's it's going to be a lot, man. It's going to be a blast. So come out and get some knowledge. Get some knowledge, get some information that could push you forward to your next phase in life.
absolutely. Well, again, Mr. Howard, I want to thank you
Mm.
for coming on to the platform. I definitely learned a lot, and I know that our listeners, or our watchers and listeners, whatever you want to call them, definitely learned a lot. Um, Again, I want to extend an open invitation. If there's any time that you want to promote or just want to come on, please, this is an open invitation for you to come back whenever, you know.
Absolutely
I
appreciate you,
definitely would
brother.
love to have you
Mhm.
once again and kind of further expound on some of the things we talked about.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me and giving me this place on this platform to just give some game. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. Love what you're doing, and I'm
Abs-
always gonna be here. Just let me know. I'll jump on.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, man, I wish you much blessings on everything that you have going on, and even the things that you haven't thought of yet. Um, I wish you much success in that. And again, you're welcome to come on at any time in the future.
Thank you,
Thank you
brother.
again.
All
All
right,
right.
appreciate it. All right, peace.
There you go, guys. Another amazing interview with another amazing guest. I want to shout out to Mr. Thurston Howard, real estate investor, serial entrepreneur. You name it, he does it. Father, husband, um, just a man of the people. And as I always encourage you guys, if there's something that God has given you a vision to do, If you dream about it, if you think about it, if you don't feel like you can touch it, man, this is as good a time as any to walk in it, man. Like, step out on it, because I truly believe that there are people that are attached to you that are waiting for you to do whatever that thing is, and because it connected to their destiny. So if it's a script, if it's a job, if it's buying a house, if it's working in real estate, if it's whatever, getting a degree, whatever the case may be, step out. And as the saying goes, as God gives vision, he gives provision. So with that being said, I encourage you to step out, do that thing. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching and supporting. I appreciate you here at Let's Take a Walk. I'll see you again real soon.